Dear friends, it has been over 3 months and I haven't loaded any content on this particular channel. And I can't really explain why. There has just been a lot going on. Unprecedented things going on with the ongoing pandemic and all the changes and adjustments that go with something that comes so abruptly. But today I feel led in my spirit to just, share something from my heart, because since morning I have been feeling the nudging of the Lord, being reminded to talk about love, to insist on love, because as human beings we tend to forget, and that is our nature, to forget even the very important things, especially the important things. We have the proclivity to forget things that are important, because important things involve stretching and straining, so they are not easy to sustain. And so we have to remind ourselves after some time, the most important things that are cherished, that form part of our constitution, because we tend to forget those things. And the world hears about love, because my hallmark, my clarion call, the days of my lives are spent in search of and in pursuit of love, which is a very difficult and easy matter altogether. And in my walk, in my search for love, I discover things daily. And I'm beginning to understand why God is one of the names of God is love. Why is God also love? Because He is so far away and yet very close by. And He is so shallow and yet so deep. And He is so loving and yet He can condemn and He can destroy. He can be angry. And when He gets angry, He doesn't let go. He ensures that justice is done. And nothing can quench His anger. And that is why Jesus had to come, to stand in between the anger of God and the sinful human nature, so that He can atone and bring the two together. It is an amazing thing. And I've been thinking about love, and I've been thinking about how amazing it is. It amazes me that you can love what is sometimes not lovable, and yet the demands of love cringe upon your heartstrings. We have something called the heartstrings, and those are the pillars that form the structure of the heart. Not this real heart, like the cardiac veins, ventricles, and auricles, and arteries, and all that. But the heart, which is the very essence of our being, what constitutes us, the very foundation of who we truly are, that is the heart I'm talking about. And that is where God operates in. Those are the corridors of heaven, where the power of God manifests. And then it's passed on to the manifestation that is physical. And I've been thinking about how and why it has been possible to love people who are unloved, and to cry for people who were left alone. You know, sometimes we've gone to places and we were like the only ones who cried. uh, and the people who were there and supposed to be crying were just there, and they appeared unmoved. And we who didn't even know the person so well were honestly moved, and we cried, we shed tears because of the death, or because of the frustration that this person has been through. And we regretted the history they had gone through, and we thought it shouldn't have been like that. Somebody should have come out to, create some difference. And we were so sincerely moved, and our tears were not just coming from the eyes, but they were coming from the heart. Our hearts were so moved. And that is just beyond understanding. We've had some people stand on the sidelines and say, oh, these people didn't even know this person. How can they appear to be so concerned? And this is like not real. They are up to something. And really, when I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't be moved. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just confused. Maybe I'm just expressing anger, misplaced anger. Maybe I'm just responding to some other stimulus and manifesting it through here. But for how long can you keep on manifesting things from different scenarios and putting them on particular events and letting it vent through those events? If that was the case, we would just do it once or twice, not repeatedly. The Lord has put something, a special fire in our hearts, and it keeps on burning and burning and burning. It doesn't just burn once or twice. Daily we find ourselves inclined to the pain of others, to the concerns of others, to their fears and anxieties. And not just getting concerned to talk about it like a news media agency or a politician, but in a way that pushes us to get one and the same, and to connect ourselves with that and reach out in a practical way. And that cannot be misplaced stimulus. It cannot be escapism or misplaced anger or just trying to make a point. It is a lifestyle. And I cherish the lifestyle of love. I understand it doesn't make much sense. It will never really make sense to the worldly standards, because the world lacks the love. And the world will never understand love, because it is not a worldly thing. It is only divine to love. And that is why when you're dealing with people of this world who don't understand divinity, your love becomes weakness. It becomes stupidity and foolishness. And you're bound to be abused by the systems because it is strange to them. And I have been blessed in my life to meet some of the most kind-hearted people, the most loving men and women. And when I investigated further and tried to understand these men and women, I discovered that there are people who have not been understood in their lives. A lot of them have gone through a lot of abuse. And yes, they're human beings and they did make mistakes here and there. But when you look at the very bedrock of the conflicts that have surrounded them, those conflicts came to them because they were too kind and they were too forgiving. Some of them had spouses who messed them up, and because of the love in their hearts, they were giving them chance after chance after chance. And these people who couldn't understand the love in their hearts mistook that for weakness, and they ended up abusing these people. So now they carry the marks, the scars, the wounds on their backs and they are so crushed, bearing the consequences of their loving nature. But what again amazes me is this, that even with that was supposed to have taught them lessons, with the painstaking experiences they went through, they never learned that lesson and became very careful and stepped away from loving. While that went on, they said, "Oh, I'm not going to love again. I've had enough. I just have tried. And now, oh God, I'm hurt and disappointed. And so nobody should ever tell me to love again." And they were serious, they meant it. But because of the nature that God put in them, they still find themselves loving again. They still love human beings. They still love the man who disappointed them. And they move on. And they seem to be hurt and disappointed, but it doesn't stop them from exercising what God has put in their hearts. And so my message to you who are kind and loving is that yes, you'll be rejected. Yes, you'll be disappointed. And you'll surely be misunderstood. Each and every day, walk with it. Know that you will not be understood. Because the world doesn't understand that you have. The world doesn't know it. And they yearn for it because it feels good to love. And that's why when you meet somebody who is a thief and you greet them, "How are you, thief?" they will slap you. And you meet a prostitute who benefits from their burden. "How are you, madam prostitute? I saw you on the streets last night. How was business doing?" They'll cry because they yearn for love. There is something in them that calls, screams out, "Love, love, love, love." And they try to reach out and grasp it, but it runs away from them, and they're always in pursuit of that is so precious that runs away from them. And so, let us keep on loving. I remind you guys, let us keep on loving no matter what. And the fruits of love are not instant. They take time. I've been thinking about the love of my grandparents. I don't know about my great-grandparents. Our history is not written, and because of illiteracy, we don't understand 3 generations, behind, like people in the developed world. They're privileged to go through genealogies, and people were able to read and write, so they know more things. We don't. So I only know about 2 generations. I know about my grandparents and my parents and maybe my great-grandparents, but it's just a little bit. And then it's blank, kaput. So I can't tell what they did historically. But the Spirit bears witness to me that somebody in my lineage was loving and was kind and did a few things that blessed people. And I live their blessing today. And therefore, for you who will reach out and live with love, beginning with your family and extending it into others who are living in the desert without hope, I know that you will not be the one to reap the benefits. Other people will. Because the seeds of love, when they're sown too deep, they take time to germinate and they grow into a huge tree that will feed the nations and your posterity. Somebody in your lineage if you are blessed to have people who will benefit because of you. And I believe that also when we go home, yeah, we have stuff that we don't really know now. We are told we have crowns. I don't know what that is. We're told we have mansions. I don't know how they look like. We can't picture that now because we are so limited, and it is not for us to investigate and take a photo of the heavenly mansion, because our role in this life is to just keep on sowing seeds of love daily, and by faith look into the promises of God, which will come to be manifested in the right appointed time. So I've done 16 minutes. I'm going to stop there by wishing you all the best. I know there's COVID-19. People are disillusioned. Stay within the enclaves of love. Don't ever compromise for love. Stay within the confines of love and walk in love and work in love and communicate in love, and let everything you do have an eternal bearing, because it is only things that are engendered through love that have an eternal bearing. Everything else is fleeting and withering and passing away. So let's stay with eternity in view. May God bless you, good people.